notes get shoved into. You got that body. You give it to the guy, oh, he's gonna like you more. Girls always begin with this idea, okay, let me get this straight. So long as I'm technically not having sex, I am being good. So hooking up and making out, well, that's not a big deal. Doing this with a guy, that's not a big deal. Doing that with a guy or sending pictures, well, that's not a big deal. Doing this with a guy, as long as I love him, it's not a big deal. Why not a big deal? Yeah, why is that not a big deal? Oh yeah, because those other girls at school, they're worse than I am. And when it's all said and done, the girl convinces herself this priceless gift of her body, well, that's not a big deal. Something dies. She could go boy to boy to boy, she never sits still. By the time she gets to high school or college, she has no clue who she is. She defined her whole identity by the boy she's clinging to. And she's so busy trying to find a boy, she loses herself in the process. And she thinks like she's in love with him. I doubt it, but she's probably in love with the fact that he wants her when she doesn't even want herself half the time. But she's so afraid of being alone, she settles for anything, hooking up, something dies in her. I read about it. Sleeping, his dog starts barking. The guy came in the backyard, his dog's barking in a bush. The guy said, that's a bush? No, good dog, shut up, go to bed. Go to sleep. 2:30, the dog starts barking. The guy came in the backyard with a stick. Here, pooch, smack, beat the dog into submission, back to sleep. 2:45, the dog starts freaking out. The guy threw a fit, cocked the gun, came in the backyard, apparently shot and killed the dog in the backyard, and went peacefully to sleep. But then what happened is the robber who was hiding in the bushes, got out of the bushes, walked over to the body of the dead dog, came inside the guy's house, apparently killed him in his sleep, and robbed everything that he owned. And that dog is like our conscience that tells us right from wrong. I've said to my conscience, you shut up. Don't tell me I should be doing that with her. Don't tell me I should be looking at that stuff. Shut up. I'd kill the boys and do it anyway and think I'm free now. I'm not doing what mom wants. I'm not doing what the church wants. I'm free. But I always think afterwards, yeah, you're so free. How come you're empty afterwards? You're so free, how come you can't look her dad in the eyes whenever you go over that house? That's freedom? And it leads to the point where a girl will think, Jason, look, you got cute little stories, but you don't get it. Look, Jason, I'm not a virgin. Or Jason, I have my virginity taken from me. Or something bad happened to me when I was a little girl. And we're a good guy, like you're all talking about, as if I know anybody who want a girl like me, been through what I've been through. Jason, look, I'm damaged goods, too late, once it's gone, it's gone. Okay, I'll tell you one girl I know, 2 years old, first memory was her dad abusing her mom. Dad was an alcoholic, drug addict, cheater. He divorced, he's gone. He's one of these guys out there, male enough to get a girl pregnant, but not man enough to be a dad. So she's raised no father. She gets to high school. She doesn't know how a gentleman's treat a lady. A football player asks her out. They start dating, and he said to her, I've never felt this way about a girl before. I love you. For her, those words were magic. She never heard that at home. And she said, well, I love you too, Reuben. He said, if you love me, you'll show me. She knew what that meant, so she went to her girlfriends. She said, Reuben wants to start doing this and that. What do you guys think? They said, you like him, right? She said, well, yeah, I like him. Then they said, that it's not a big deal. Everybody's doing it. Don't be a prude. As long as you feel ready, just get it over with. So she figured, yeah, it's not a big deal. At the age of 15, she lost her virginity, thinking they'd be forever in love. She said, in all actuality, all respect was thrown out the window. Because she said, after a while, he didn't want to spend time with me anymore. He was basically spending time with my body. Because when a girl's getting used, she knows it. She tries to distract herself, but she knows there's no peace. He lost respect for it, started fighting more. Because every time they're together, it's like that's all he wanted. And she'd give him sexual stuff for the sake of feeling love, and he'd just give her love for the sake of getting that. And eventually they just broke up. And she said, I will never forget the day he walked away for the last time. She said, all I could think is that guy's leaving with something that never belonged to him. Now I'm never going to get it back. Not a virgin now. Was hoping to wait for marriage, kind of late for me. Sort of cycle these relationships. She got to be a junior on campus, biggest stud at school last round. Captain of basketball, football teams. And he said, I've never felt this way about a girl before. I love you. She said, I love you too, Andre. He said, if you love me, show me. So she goes back to girlfriends. She goes, now Andre wants to start doing it. What do you guys think? They said, look, let's set standards. Let's not sleep with our boyfriends for 6 months. If he can hold out with no sex for that long, then I know he loves me, and then we'll stick together. And now she looks back and thinks 6 months. 6 months is the price I put on my body. 6 months of his time, attention, phone calls, that's love. So he held out for 6 months, and then he started sleeping with her. He really lost respect. Started cheating on her, abusing her, physically abusing her in front of other guys. Weren't even man enough to step in and protect her. Started emotionally abusing her. Girl, you're so ugly, you're so fat and stupid. Stupid? She got straight A's. Fat and ugly? The girl was a kickboxer, voted the prettiest girl in the high school of 3,000 students. But he had to convince her, fat and ugly, that she's miserable. She said, those Saturday nights, all my friends would say to me, it's all fun and games. She said, yeah, you wake up the next morning, fun and games are over. I woke up hating myself. She said, I'd sit in my bathroom in the morning, flipping over my pregnancy test, scared to death. But then I go to school that morning, the biggest mask on my face. I'm so happy with my life. It's so good being popular. Put a mask on for my parents, one for church, one for my friends, one for the boys. She said, I was so sick, I didn't know any way out. Her mom found what was happening. She said, you're going to chastity talk. She said, no, I'm not going to your stupid sex talk. I heard those before. Mom said, I don't care. You're going. Forces her. And I don't know who gave her that talk. It was not me. But she said, that guy got up there, and the 1 hour I just sat still. She said, my life did a 180. She said, the guy was honest, blunt, and real. And he didn't judge any of us. But she said, it felt like he took my hand out of the audience and walked through my whole life with me. Because he had done everything I had done. Sex, smoking, drinking. But she said, he had something I didn't have, and I wanted it back. He wasn't ashamed of himself of his double life. I wanted that backbone. So after the talk, she went up to him. They talked for a long time. She took his advice. Just start over. She went to the sacrament of reconciliation. Got a clean soul. Then she wrote down a list. 60 things she dreamed of in a future husband. When never again would she settle for less. And then that weekend, the guys called her up. Hey girl, want to hook up? Or over to Andre's house. She wasn't stupid. She knew what they're after. So for the first time ever, she said no. Stayed home a little lonely, where she wrote her first love letter to her future husband. I said no to them tonight out of love for you. I'm respecting my body this night out of respect for you, and I can't wait for the day we're gonna meet. With all my hopes and prayers and dreams, she signs it. Next weekend, they call her back. Hey girl, where you been? You trying to be too good for us? They tried to make her feel guilty for taking care of herself for once. She turned down again, another love letter. Every time she was tempted to go back to life, she'd read the old letters and write a new one. And she got stronger. Stack of letters got thicker and thicker and thicker. Now, why do you think I know all this stuff about the girl? It's because she's the girl who gave me every single one of those letters on our honeymoon when I married her 9 years ago. This girl's my wife, my bride, mother of my kids. You imagine how grateful I am? She started waiting for me. What if she heard that talk in high school? What if she just blew it off? Chastity, abstinence? What a joke, not for me. Do you think I ever would have met her? Do you think our marriage would exist? Do you think the little baby girl we just had this past summer would exist? And it was cool. When we found out that we were pregnant, specifically her, you go to the doctors, you get to see a little dude on a TV screen. The first one, the baby's tall as a grain of rice, and you watch the heart beating. It's awesome. Most of the ultrasounds stink. You can't see anything. I'm like, is that his head? They say, that's his butt. I'm like his dad. But now, they got these new ones, they call 4D ultrasounds. They can zoom in on your kid's face in color, live, 3D videos. They have videos now of kids who appear to be laughing at something in their mother's wombs. And when we found out we're expecting, we brought the other little kids with us to the doctor's office. We said, okay, guys, okay, if you look up at that TV screen, you're gonna see your baby brother or sister for the very first time. No kidding. As soon as the unborn baby's profile came into focus, this little hand comes up on the screen and it waves. And the doctor's like, I've never seen that before. And I'm like, yeah, that's my kid, he's pro-life. And then we got one of my boy Colby. He's 6 now, but when he was in her womb, he's real small, about as big as your cell phone, until you zoom in on that little face. And this is what he looked like taking a nap in my wife's womb 5 months before he was even born. It's like, you can hear estrogen in the room. You get the point though? Do you understand this boy's existence forever will have depended on a brave choice his mom made back in high school to turn things around? And when we got married, yes, I was a virgin when we got married. And you couldn't pay me anything to give to anyone but my bride. Now, she was not a virgin, but she was worth the wait. She knew it. I would have waited for her until I was 50. She started over. In a lot of ways, I did too. We do not want to end up divorced. So we did things to decrease your divorce rate. First thing, we wouldn't live together before we get married. You know how couples are doing that today? They shack up and cohabit and play house and test drive it and then they get married. How do they do in marriage? Twice as likely to divorce. Why do they do it then? They say, well, we need to see if we're compatible with each other. Trust me on this one. If you're a guy and she's a girl, you are not compatible in marriage. I figured out. Look who's laughing, the old people. They know what I'm talking about. I'm serious. I knew we weren't compatible a week after we got married. We get back from our honeymoon, she moves all her stuff in my bathroom. Do you know what happens when a girl gets in a guy's bathroom and you get married? It's called a hostile takeover, right? Guys' bathroom's perfect. We have soap shampoo. It's all I need. She moves in. I count one morning 24 bottles of different things. She had like pumice foot polish, like kneecap remover. She has body wash. wash. It's like exfoliating body wash with raspberry melon, apricot, guava, pork chop, applesauce, and they got bags of stuff, like 30 razor blades. One bag she had, what did it say? It said lemon sage body butter. I mean, what is that for? Like, guys aren't into this. Like, how many of you guys have body butter at home? Well, don't answer the question, but the point is, you're not going to be compatible in marriage. And that's because girls are weird, and guys are entirely normal, but that's obvious. But you're not going to be compatible in marriage. But you deal with it, you sacrifice. Well, how do I know how to do that? Sacrifice? Well, look, chastity, if you get married, sacrifice will not be new for you, because you've been doing it for each other for years. So first thing is when you shack up. And girls, think about it. Shacking up with a guy, think of it this way. You girls go on one date with a boy, he's a jerk. Okay, breakup's easy. It's one date. Okay, date a guy for 6 months and break up. Okay, that's harder. Now sleep with the guy, now move in with the guy, and then it dawns on you he's not the right guy for you. You know how hard it is to let go of a guy when you've given him so much? Most girls don't want to start over. They stay put, try to fix it, and marriage is done before it even starts. And people complain to me, they say, oh, come on, be realistic. If you're going to buy a car, don't you test drive it before you buy it? Yeah, you do. And what do you do with that car in 5 years when the better looking one comes out? That's right, you dump the old one, you get a new one. You can do that with your spouse too. You test drive things, you can't do that with people. So first thing is we didn't shack up. Second thing, we didn't sleep together before we got married. If I had sex with Kristalina before I married her, I'd be lying to her. My body would be telling her one thing. Oh, I've given myself totally to you. I'm all yours. If I'm not her husband, the embrace of sex is a lie. And some guys will say to me, but what if it's not like that? Some cheap one-night stand and you're drunk. What if you really care about this girl? How come you can't sleep with her if you really love her? Really love her? What's it mean to love her? You do what's best for her. Really? Best for her to wake up tomorrow? Oh, I'm pregnant. My mom will find out. I spoke at a high school in Texas. They had 87 girls pregnant on campus. That didn't include the junior high, brought the number of pregnancies over 100. But here's the question. How many pregnancies do you think that school would have if it were the guys who would get pregnant? I mean, girls, wouldn't it be neat? Just for 1 week of the year, guys could get pregnant. I mean, man, how things would change. Guys would be like, it is National Abstinence Awareness Week. I've got my pledge card right here. I signed it on Tuesday. Think about it. I mean, think of it like this way. Prom night, hotel room, football player with his girlfriend. She starts flirting about sex. He'd be like, whoa, I'm not ready for sex. Coach would kill me if I got pregnant on the football team next year. I can't run for touchdowns like that. That's not going to work. And let her take the risk, though. And some guys would tell me, oh, I'm telling her I really love this girl I'm sleeping with. Dude, if a guy loves the girl he's sleeping with, how come if they're in bed together at her house and her dad comes home, the guy will jump out of like a 5-story window rather than face her dad? If he really loves the girl, I think he should stay in bed with her. No kidding. Let's say they're in bed together, her house, and her dad comes home. Just say from a hunting trip, okay? I didn't get to shoot anything yet. And so they're sitting there in bed, and girlfriend looks out the window, and she sees the dad's truck. Ah, it's my dad. He has guns. You have to hide. Boyfriend should look at her and say, hide? I don't need to hide. I've always wanted to show your dad how much I love his daughter. I think this would be a perfect opportunity to give him that information. It's never going to happen. The guy's going to freak out. I know it. Because it happened to my buddy John in high school. He's over my friend Michelle's house. They're up in her bedroom messing around. They weren't even supposed to be seeing each other. Her dad was supposed to be out at work. He comes home early, sees John's car out front. Whoa, boom, he busted over. They hear him coming upstairs. My friend John is freaking out because he's trapped. There's nowhere to go. And he's like, Michelle, where can I hide? He's like in the closet, the desk, in the microwave. He's like, where can I fit? And he looks at Michelle's bed. It's like 6 inches off the ground. So he's like, honey, I'm going under there. He dives under the bed. He wiggles under the mattress. He's like, the bed's like moving up and down. And your dad busted over. Boom. Where's John? Michelle's smooth. Michelle's like, John who? And like, sweetheart, the bed's levitating behind you. There's a clue. So dad comes up in the bed, looks underneath it. Yeah. My friend John is on the floor in the corner shivering like a rat. I'm like, what is he doing there? I mean, if he really loves this girl, why doesn't a boy in his time to hide from the man who loves her the most? Because he knows the depths of his heart. This has nothing to do with love and sacrifice. It's about lust, pleasure. If it were about love, man, he'd be proud to show the father how he loves the daughter. But as it is, he hides. Why is her dad like that? Dude, he's so uptight and protective. Because he's not naive. I mean, he knows the price she's going to pay. Check this out. They studied here 10,000 girls. When a girl starts having sex, what happens in her life? They found if a girl starts having sex when she's 12, it's like 7th grade, on average, those girls go on to sleep with about 21 different guys in their life. If you start having sex as an 8th grader or freshman, probably have about 14 different sexual partners. Sophomore, junior's 8, senior's 7, numbers go down according to how long you wait. But the sooner a girl begins, unless she stops, she becomes now more likely to have more breakups, STDs, out-of-wedlock pregnancy, become a single mom, live under the poverty level, have a divorce, have an abortion, be depressed, on and on. The longer a girl waits for sex, the happier she'll be. And it doesn't mean you have a terrible life, you're not a virgin, my wife's happy. All this means, how can guys learn this and think, oh, but I love my girlfriend so much, I can do this to her future? And with Crystal and I, this is not why we save sex for marriage. I mean, you think we practice chastity because of this? It's like, well, honey, I'm afraid of increasing your rates of living under the poverty level, honey. We certainly can't do that tonight. I know. The reason we waited is simple. It's because I love her. Love can wait to give, but lust can't wait to get. If you're sexually active right now, or just doing sexual stuff, take it out. You'll see if it's real love. We did a big public high school in Michigan, 1,000 freshmen, 1,000 sophomores. After the assembly, the senior runs in. He's all ticked off. He's like, dude, who told my girlfriend all about chastity? I was like, me! It wasn't the matter. Turns out, he's a senior, his girlfriend's a freshman. He's one of these older guys who doesn't have enough social skills to date a girl of his own age, so he tries to get with the young ones. But what's the deal with you girls and older guys? How many of you girls here are 13 years old? Put your hands up, 13-year-old girls. Put your hands up, put them up high, put your hands up high. How many of your boy, we'll work on that later, keep your hand. How many of you girls are currently pursuing an 11-year-old boy? How come girls laugh at that? But if a guy's older, shouldn't think twice. First reason it happens is, girls mature faster than guys do. And I know you girls are thinking, there's a shocker. Think about it. Look at 13-year-old girl. 13-year-old girls, they're going to go home tonight, they're going to text each other like 2 in the morning. I want a relationship one day where I can communicate about my feelings and my friends and my shoes and everything. Look at 13-year-old guy. He's not there. Dude, he's not even close to being there. 13-year-old guys are going to go home tonight, they're going to sit in a room by themselves, and they're going to be like, that's fine, you know. And that's fine. I can still do that. I tell my wife how to do it. But 13-year-old girls typically get bored of the 13-year-old guy. But then along comes Mr. High School boy, the junior high girl, Mr. Senior, the freshman. First thing she thinks, oh, he's older than me, he's more mature, and he likes me, and it's exciting. Little does she know, all the guys know it. The younger she is than you, the more easily she gives in to your sexual desire. She's afraid of rejection. I'll bet you girls whatever you want. But most of the time, what is going on right there? That girl is looking for the love that she never got from her own dad, but she's not going to find it in the arms of another man. From the time you girls were 2, you wanted to know, Daddy, am I beautiful? Do you love me? Do you want me? Or you going to hear from me? Girls, I'm sorry. If your dad is absent or abusive, you go in the world with questions unanswered. Older guys show up. You're beautiful. Yeah, I want you. Feels like it's making up for that missing love. I've seen this with my own eyes. About a month ago, I was putting my little girl Mary to bed, kneeling next to her bed, just giving her a hug, saying prayers. I just give her a hug goodnight, and she just squeezes me. And she just holds me. And she just holds me for like a minute. And then 2 minutes, and I can just feel her little heart beating on mine. I feel a little breath on my cheek. I'm just holding her there. And then she gives me this big squeeze. Then she lets go. And she says, wow, Dad, that was a lot of love. And then the next night, I gave her a big hug. And she said, Dad, your breath smells like dead frogs. Your mother's cooking. The next night, I gave her another hug. And she said, what if your eyeball fell out? Sweet girl from 2 nights ago, but I saw it that one night. Her little 5-year-old heart like a sponge awaiting the love of the Father. And when that's been dried up from neglect, torn to pieces through abuse, I'm telling you, anything feels like it's going to fill it up. And then the older guys come along, and she hasn't heard their lines before. You know the number one thing a guy says to get a girl in bed? Is, oh, I love you so much. And you know I would never pressure you to do anything sexual that you're not comfortable with. I totally respect that. We'll go at your pace. I just like being with you. And she's like, you see, he's so much sweeter than those other guys. But if you watch it, he'll sexually take from her all she's willing to give. He doesn't guard her innocence. He's wearing it down. Her girlfriends and her family tell her, can't you see he's bad for you? It's like she's deaf. She's like, I know he has problems, but he smells good. I can't break up. I don't know how I do that. And she stays there and it's burned. But I'm telling you, when it's real love, it'll bring you closer to everybody who loves you. Your family, your friends, God. When it's not real love, you just get plucked away from all three. Remember the guy who ran an auditorium? Who told my girlfriend about chastity? I said, me, what's the matter? He said, I just saw my girlfriend in the hallway after your talk. She looked all happy. So I said, where you been last hour? She said some chastity talk. Came in here to see what happened to her. I said, well, you can sleep with her again one day. Marry her. He said, oh. I said, isn't she worth waiting for? He said, no. It is the love test. You want to know a boy loves you? Here's your chance to find out. Because I promise you the day's going to come where boy's going to say, girl, if you love me, if you really love me, he'd give it to me, he'd do it with me if you love me. Girl, if he loved you, he wouldn't be asking for it in the first place. And if you love him, you can't give him whatever he wants because you're afraid he'll leave. That's not love, it's insecurity. Love doesn't give people what they want. I came downstairs looking for my kids. I'm like, hey guys, where are you? Silence. Well, come on, it's not funny. John Paul, Colby, Mary, what? Silence. Now, when my kids are quiet, it means that they're sleeping or doing something illegal. Those are the only options we have on the table. So I know that's no good. I look in the kitchen, the freezer's open, there's a gallon of ice cream missing from the freezer. I don't know who that is. Colby. I know where it is. I go in the kids' playroom, got a big slide in there. Underneath the slide is a cave. I look underneath the cave. Sure enough, there he is, the fat monster. He's completely naked, eating a gallon of ice cream. He said, El Gordo, give it to me. He's going, you're dead. Grab his fat little leg, drag his butt off. Where's so stupid it is, slide on the floor. I pulled it away. I'm like, give that to me. He pulls it back. He's like, you don't love me. I'm like, I don't love you? Dude, you're lactose intolerant. You'd be on the toilet for a week if I let you eat that thing, right? Boris, I love you, and because I love you, you can't have what feels good. It's just not good for you. Same principle, my absence of love. Do you understand that abstinence is a better expression of love than sin could ever be? And so that's the reason we waited, is because of love. It's not because we're afraid of something that I abstained. You think I waited? So I was, what, 26 years old when I got married to my beautiful wife? You think I waited because I was afraid of something? Oh, I'm afraid of gonorrhea. I'll be abstinent. You think that motivated me at all? Not at all. It was to give my love undividedly to one woman and to no other. And so that's the second thing. What it was saved it for marriage. Third thing for solid marriage. One of the beauties that's self-control. You don't even have to worry about birth control. I mean, in marriage, no way on earth would I put my wife's body on this junk. How disrespectful. What's her fertility? Some disease? You know, I'm gonna give my wife some drugs to make her more available for me. It's messed up. They don't tell the girls about the truth about this stuff. They never say, hey girls, and here's your birth control. Oh yeah, sorry we forgot to tell you. The birth control pill increases your risk of getting breast cancer. Some doctor like, oh, that's not true. The pill and breast cancer? It's not true, huh? That's interesting. United Nations says it's true. Mayo Clinic says it's true. Companies that make the birth control admit it's true. But they don't tell the girls that. They say, oh, you want the pill? We'll give you a shot. It's called Depo-Provera. Before they stick any needles in you, make sure they tell you the company that makes Depo-Provera has been sued for more than $700 million. It thins out the girls' bones. They have girls in America, 20 years old, who have the bones of a 60-year-old woman in their body because they took Depo for too many years as a teenager. But you know who they're not giving it to now? The dogs. Veterinarians refuse to. They said that is not safe enough for our house pets. But they'll give it to any girl that walks in Planned Parenthood. They say, oh, well, if you don't want the shot, we'll give you the new one, the patch. It's a little sticker the girl puts on. Killed more than 25 girls so far. More than $60 million in lawsuits so far over this thing. But they told the people who invest in this company, don't worry, the money we're bringing in is easy to take care of the litigation costs from all the lawsuits we're getting. We're making a great profit right now. And they say, well, if you don't want the patch, we got a new one for you girls, Implanon. I've got this one that comes with the side effects right here. This one comes with the drug. Ladies on Implanon, call your doctor right away. If you start coughing up blood, you go completely blind or unconscious. Like, how's she supposed to make the phone call? Has anyone seen my phone call right now? Great. Coughing up blood. What's so wrong with her fertility?